Welcome to the new exciting series designed for manufacturing in Autodesk Inventor. This is Swift Education. My name is Hilary. We'll be designing materials, parts, assemblies in Autodesk, and I'm going to use Inventor because it is available online and you can get Autodesk Inventor if you purchase it. This is the best value for 3 years, or you can purchase annually or you can pay monthly. But for this aspect, we're going to use the trial version, so you can download this trial version to use for the practice that we are going to do. Therefore, let's start the program and understand the interface. Once the file is opened or the program is opened, we have this interface. This section shows us if you want to make the first drawings or if we want to do the new drawings. We select part, assembly, presentation, or drawing. These are the shortcuts to the files that are connected here, and here we have the reason document. So for example, these part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5 are reason documents that I had drawn in this program. So what we do is we select part, because we are beginning a new document. You can select part or you select new. So let's begin with, it's a new part that we're going to draw. So double click on part. Let's wait as it loads, takes forever to load. After starting the program, we find this interface. We have a file, 3D model. If we have 3D models, sketch, annotate, inspect, tools, manage, view, environment, getting started, and all these tabs, so that you can assess every time what you want to do if you are in the module. So when we get to each of these, I'll be explaining its importance. So right now we are going to start a 2D sketch. We're going to start with a 2D sketch, a very basic sketch. So I'll start with the 2D sketch. I'll click 2D sketch, then begin. Else I can also click File, then New. Then I have to select whatever metric that I want to use. For example, if it's a sheet metal in millimeters, this is in inches, this is standard component in inches, standard component in millimeters. For all my drawings, I'll be using millimeters. That is why I click millimeters and create. So after I create, it will appear as part 4. In this section, there is part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. All the parts that you're drawing will appear in this section. So what I'm going to do is using part 4, because I program it to be in millimeters. Then I begin a 2D sketch. Then these appears. These are the planes where we want to draw our diagrams. The XY plane is always the front plane. This is the YZ plane, which is always the side. Then the XZ, which is always the top. So for all my drawings, I'll always begin with the front XY plane. I want to begin with drawing the front. So I'll click the XY plane. Then this is what gives me the front. That is why in this section we have the front. If I want to turn to this side, I go to the right. I turn to this side, I go to the back. Then I go to the left, I come back to the front. If I want to go top, back, bottom, front. If I want to move, I can move using this, or I can move using this. This is how you can change the planes the way that you want to change them. So in this interface, first in the 2D sketch, we have the line, the circle, the arc, the rectangle, fillet. If you want to insert text, if you want to select a point, if you want to pull the geometry that you want, move, copy, rotate, trim, extend, split, scale, stretch, offset. All these we're going to find their use or their application shortly. we are going to have rectangular, circular, and these are arrays. And if you want to mirror, then we can dimension it. Then there are some constraints in this section. This is the automatic dimensions. This is showing the constraints and how the figures or the lines are constrained. This is supposed to show us the constraint settings that we want. This one makes the lines coincident. This one makes the points or the lines parallel. This one makes the line tangent. This one makes collinear, the lines collinear. This one makes them perpendicular. This one makes them smooth. This one makes the circles concentric. This one makes the line horizontal. This one makes it vertical. This one makes it symmetric. This one makes it to be equal. Then you can search images, points, and show the format, and you can finish the sketch. So the most basic thing is drawing a line. So for example, if we have this line, begin this, and as you can see, when you select this line, it is highlighted. Then when you move to the section or the drawing point, the cursor will move. Here it is an arrow, but after selecting, it changes to a cross sign. So you move in and place at the point where you want to draw the line. Then you left click. Then you move to whatever direction that you want. You may move downward, you may move to the right, you may move at an angle such that any point that you move, you'll see it has given you the dimension that is highlighted in millimeters, the length in millimeters, and the degrees. So we have to draw a horizontal line, and that is now the degrees has to be 0, while the length will choose whatever we want. So we may choose a length such as 100, and we click enter. So that is the first line that we have in the diagram. Then we may need to move bottom, we may move to this side, we may move to whatever side depending on the angle, but for now I'll click escape so that we complete the first line. When you want to zoom in or to zoom out, you use the mouse, you use the scroll section of the mouse, and it can zoom in or zoom out. When you want to move to whatever section, you press the scrolling button. You press and hold, and it will move the diagram that we are drawing, and you have to do that too. Next, after drawing the line, you found that you drew a straight line. So let's try to draw a vertical line or a line at an angle, and let's say it is we want it to be 100. To put the dimension in degrees, you click tab on the keyboard, and it will tell you the amount of degrees you want to do. Let's select 30 degrees and click enter. So the line is 30 degrees to the horizontal. If you want to turn it back to the horizontal, you move to this section and you click horizontal, and then I'll click this line. Cancel. So you find that it has refused to move to the horizontal because of this dimension. So let's move the dimension. We first remove the dimension, and let's remove also this. Yes, now we try to make it horizontal and see what will happen to it. Yes, it is now horizontal. That is how you change a line to a horizontal or draw a line at an angle that you need. So let's delete the line. So the next type of line is a spline. This is a line that goes to any direction that you want. You can select this way. Let's say, for example, we are drawing this kind of pattern, and that is how you draw a spline. Then you move to whatever direction that you want, then you change whatever direction that you want. That is how to draw a spline. Yeah. Okay. So you can delete it. We will come to the use of a spline later when we will be doing complicated designs. Is there any need for a different kind of line? You can use this bridge curve to bridge other things, as we'll find in later designs. This section draws a circle, so let's say this is a circle and we want to draw another circle. That is how to draw circles. Yeah, so the types of circles, you can draw tangent circle or ellipse, all that you wish to draw. Then you may draw whatever ellipse that you want. You may draw it that way or this way. So those are the kinds of circles that are drawn in this section. So you can delete this ellipse. Then arc. There are three types of arc. There is a 3-point arc, a tangent arc, and a center point arc. So let's say, for example, I want to draw an arc. You select this point and let the arc have 100 millimeters, and you can move it to whatever direction that you want, either this way or this way. So let's say we have an arc, we want it radius to have a radius of 50. So we click enter. So from here to here it is 100, but from midpoint to the edge or the radius of the arc is 50. Next we can try to draw a center point arc. Let's say 20, then click tab, degrees is 90, click enter. Then we can draw the arc to whatever point that we wish. Let's say if you want to draw the arc to this point, that's how you can draw an arc. So the next is a tangent arc that we'll demonstrate later. There is drawing of a rectangle. There's this type of rectangle that we can draw, assuming it is 30. Then you click tab, then the next is 20. So the rectangle is 30 by 20. So let me move this so that you can see the dimensions clearly. So the rectangle is 30 by 20. If we want to draw a different type of rectangle called a center rectangle, we can do this. So this is the difference between a rectangle that comes from one of the sides to a rectangle that comes from the midpoint. This is a center rectangle. So let's select the dimensions to be 30, then you click tab, then you select 20, so that we have a 30 by 20 center rectangle. So this is a center rectangle, but this is a different rectangle that is how is it called? A 2-point rectangle. Okay, then you can draw a polygon. For example, a polygon that is let's select 7-sided polygon, then we click OK. So click polygon, I draw this, then I choose the number of sides to, let's say, 7 or 8 or whatever I want. So if I want 6, then I click done. Yeah, this is a 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Oh no, this is a 7-point polygon. If I want a 6-point polygon, I do that. Yeah, I may do that, assuming it's that. So we find that I want one of these sides to be vertical. So I'll select this and make it vertical so that it is that way. Or if I want the top part to be horizontal, I select that and cancel. I select this and make this. Okay. Control Z. Let's make that again. We want to make this horizontal, and it becomes horizontal. If you want to make this vertical, click this and make this line vertical so that it turns to the side that you want. The next step is learning how to filter, to chamfer, to add text to our geometry, and also to select points. So points, we may not use them right now, but in further designs we'll be using them. For right now, we're going to do filtering and adding text to our figure. So I'm going to demonstrate using this. So first I'll do is to fill it, and I'll use a fillet radius of 5 millimeters, right? It is selecting for me 5 millimeters, or according to the fillet radius that you want. We have to fillet because these edges are sharp and sometimes it may injure the user. So filleting will make the edges smooth so that it is easy to work on the material, or it is easy for the user to use the material without getting injuries. So I'll click this and this, and it will fillet with a radius of 5 millimeters. If I click this and this, it fillets with a radius of 5 millimeters. For chamfer, we have to cut off the edges. So the chamfer distance is 5 millimeters. So that is what chamfer means. It cuts the edges to give that shape, so that this side we have filleted with a fillet radius 5 millimeters. This side we have chamfered with a chamfer distance of 5 millimeters. Okay. Now, the project geometry, these we'll use later in further design. When you want to move these objects, we highlight the object, or we click move, then we select the object. This point has to be blue. So we realize that when I select this way, it gives this green background. It selects the whole thing. If I have to move from, let me demonstrate something else. If I move from left to right, it highlights with red, and it picks only the sections that are fully highlighted. For example, watch this and you'll find that it is only this and this that are fully highlighted, and those are the ones that are selected. So if I do this, it selects only these that are fully highlighted. However, if I move from left to right, no, from right to left, and highlight these, it will highlight any point that has been touched. For example, now you realize that it has highlighted this, it has selected this, it has selected all this from here all the way to this, because using the right to left, it selects all the points that where the selection points are marked. However, moving from left to right, it selects only the points that have been fully highlighted. So that is the difference. So if I have to move, I'll click this, and since I want to move the whole of these, I'll highlight the whole of that. Then the base point, has to be the point where I want to be the point where I want to move, to make the movement. So I'll click this and select this as the base point. Then I'll move it down here so that we create space on the other side. So I want it to be here, then I'll click done. So that is how to move. If I want to copy this, I'll click copy, then highlight, then select the base points. Let's say this is the base point. Then I'll create a new copy here. Let's say here. Then I'll click done. Yeah, we have the copy of this has been moved to this other side. Meanwhile, let me undo this so that it have only one copy here. If I want to rotate this, I'll click rotate, then do this, then I'll select the center point. I want this to be the center point. The geometry has been controlled. Would you like to constraints to be removed? Click yes. So I want to rotate it by you specify the angle at this point. So I want it to rotate by 270. So let me select 270. Then I click enter. Oh, there's a mistake that I've done. Control Z. So let me try to rotate it again. So select this, then center point. This will be the center point. Then I remove the constraints. Then I want the angle to be 270. Then I click OK. So you find that it has rotated the triangle. Then I click done. If I want to rotate and create a copy, I'll rotate and select. Then let me select a different center point. This will be my center point. Then if I like the cursor to be removed, click yes. Then I want this to be 270, but this time I want to have a copy, so yeah, that is the new figure that has been created. There's this original rectangle, then there's this copy of the new rectangle. So let me undo this. The next part is to trim. Trimming, I'll demonstrate using two lines. Let me delete this line. So let me also remove this dimension. Assuming this line comes from this point to this point, and let's dimension it to 60. Yeah, you'll find that there is this point here that is excess. So I'll click trim, then it cuts it off. Then also trim this. So we find that the line is trimmed. Next, if let's say, for example, let me delete this. Control Z. Let me delete this line and part of this line. So you find that this line and this line do not meet. So I'll click extend so that this line can be extended to meet the other line. So you can see that this line, let me remove this dimension so that you can see what I'm implying. Yeah, now the line has been extended to meet this line. Yeah, split is meant to split the lines. Scaling is meant to reduce or increase a figure by a certain scale factor. So let's say, for example, I want to scale this circle. So I'll select this circle and select the base point. I want it to be the center. And scale factor, I want it to make it smaller so that you can see what I'm implying. If I have to scale by 0.5, enter, the circle has reduced in radius. If I highlight this again and scale by a factor of 2, you'll find that it increases in size. Let me select the center point as it comes back to the original side. You click apply and done. If you have to stretch, you click stretch and select this and select the base point. Let's assume this is the base point. Then you stretch it. It's like moving it to a different point. So let's say I'm stretching it to this point. Then click done. If I have to offset, that means that I have to draw a different line, either coming inside or going outside. So I'll click this, then find that if I want to offset it inside, I'll click, let's say 10 mm, then it is offset into the inside part. If I want to offset outside, I'll also select that and it will offset outside. The next step is creating a rectangular or a circular pattern and then mirroring. So what I'll have to do is Control Z to undo what I've done. First, I'll start by creating a rectangular pattern, and that rectangular pattern, I'll create it inside this rectangle to demonstrate what it is. So the first step is drawing a rectangle of a dimension, let's say 3 by 2. Yeah. So this is a rectangle and we do not want it to be attached to this, so I'll try to move this. I'll try to move this to the other side. Yeah. So let's move it. Let's select a dimension such that from here to here, let it be 1 mm. Yeah. Then from this edge to this edge, let it be 1 mm. Okay, so we can delete the dimension because we know that we have done our part to make sure the dimension is okay. So we want to create this rectangular pattern to move to the right and also to move bottom, or also we can create a pattern that fills the whole of this rectangle. So I'll start by creating a rectangular pattern for only one direction. So I'll select the geometry. This is the geometry, direction 1. This is direction 1. It will move to this other side. I want it to create, let's say, 8 patterns, and the distance between them, let it be 5. Oh, these are too many. Let's say 3.5. Yeah. Okay, then click OK. So you find it has created a rectangular pattern to the right, and these are the number of rectangles that have been created: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I want to create another rectangular pattern, going to the bottom, I'll click rectangular and highlight this, and direction, I'll select this, and I'll change direction so that it moves down, and I'll create, let's say, 6, and the distance between them I want it to be 5 or 3.5. Yeah, you find that it exceeds the rectangle that we need. Let's say 3 or 3.2. Let me see, 3.2. Yeah, 3.2 is good enough, so I'll click OK. So you find that it has created the dimension, the pattern. So if you want to fill this rectangle with this pattern, there is a simpler way where you can just use one command to do all this. So let me undo what I've done so that it is easy for you to understand what I'm applying. So I'll create rectangular pattern, then I'll highlight the geometry. The far direction 1, I'll move this direction 1. Yeah, I want them to be 8 or 7. Let me say 8. No, 8. And the distance between them was 3.2. Let's say 3.2. Now this is best if it's 3.5. Okay, then direction 2, I'll select this direction, and instead of going upward, I want it to flip so that it goes downward. I want this to be 5, or let's say 6. Yeah, 6 are too many. 5. Yeah, then the distance between them, let's select 3.2. So let me check if this can be 6. Yeah, 6 are enough, and the distance to be 3.2. Then I click OK. Yeah, we have our pattern. So this is a rectangular pattern. This can be used to create when you're poking holes or creating a wire mesh, depending on whatever you want to do. So for example, if this is a wire, you can assume this is a wire mesh or an extended mesh or a mesh of something that you wanted to create. So let's create a circular pattern. For example, you're creating a rim for a tire, and you want to insert some holes where you will be putting in the bolts and fixing in the nuts. So let's use this circle. So first I'll create a circle here with a dimension of 10. Then I want to create a pattern, a circular pattern. So I'll highlight this, the geometry. This is the geometry. The axis or the direction. This is the axis, and I may go to the anti-clockwise or change direction to move to the clockwise direction. If I want 10 of them, this is how they'll appear. And I want degrees to be 360. If I wanted 130 or 180, 180, that's how they will look. Yeah, 180 degrees from here to here. if I wanted 120, that's how they'll be distributed, but this time I wanted 360 so that it goes around a circle to form something like a circular pattern of a rim. So I'll click OK, and now I have my circular pattern. The next is to try to mirror. So I'll use these to create the mirror pattern that I want to demonstrate. So let me first delete the dimensions so that I can delete or not delete the dimensions. For example, this is what I'll do. I'll create a new line so that it can be the mirror line. So this is the mirror line. This is a vertical mirror line. So the next step is to click mirror, then select the diagram or the figure, then select the mirror line, then you click apply. So this figure is mirrored to this other side, then click done. I can delete it to demonstrate something else, so let me delete this so that I can create a mirror line using an angle of 45. So let me just create this line and an angle of 30. Click OK. So what I'll do is mirror and select the object. This is the object. Select the mirror line. This is the mirror line. Then click apply. Then you find that the figure has been mirrored this other side by an angle of 30 degrees. So that is mirroring. The next is dimensioning. Dimensioning is simple. Click this and click the line. For example, if you go, this is going to give you the horizontal dimension. But if you want it to be this dimension according to this, you click any of this side or this side so that it gives you this as 10. Then accept. Then let's say, for example, you want to give a dimension from this point to this point. Click dimension, then you select the points from this point to this point. Then yeah, that way, then accept. You may want to give the dimension for this fillet, and you give it that way. You accept. It is creating these dimensions because these dimensions already exist here. So let's say, for example, if I delete this dimension, this, delete this, delete this. Yeah. Assume that I want to give the dimension for this chamfer. So I'll click this and click this and click that. Okay, then I click this and this and dimension that. Click OK. Let's say if I want to create this line to have a specific dimension, here it has a dimension of 47 point something. So I'll click the line and click this. So after it gives me this, I can select a dimension of 150 so that the line can be extended to 150. Yeah, so that is how it can be dimensioned. But you find that it makes a funny mirror line. Okay, yeah. So next is after dimensioning, we want to demonstrate some other things regarding lines. So the first thing is these are constraints to automatic dimension. This is showing constraints between lines. This is constraint settings. You can choose settings to whatever you like. I want to make two coincident lines. So I'll draw, for example, this line and a different line such as a line from here to here. then I'll do that. So I want to make these two lines consistent using this point and this point. So I'll click this point and this point. So these lines touch, they become coincident. If I want to create to draw parallel lines, for example, that line, and assuming I have this line and this line, so I'll find that this line and this line are not parallel. So I'll make them parallel by clicking these and clicking these and these. So you find that this and this line become parallel. The next is making a line tangent to a different one. So I'll try to make this line tangent to this circle. So I'll click this and make this line tangent to this circle. What did I do? Control Z. Let me draw a new line. So let's say this is a new line that I'm drawing here to here. So let me click escape. So I want to make this line and this edge of this circle or this circle tangent. So I'll click this, then click this and this. So you find that they become tangent. Then I want to make a line collinear to another. So let's say, for example, I'm drawing a line here, a different line, this line and this line. So I want to make this line and this line collinear, meaning they'll be connected and they'll be straight. So I'll click collinear constraint, then click this line and this line. So it becomes one line and is a straight line. The other thing to do is making a line perpendicular to another. So I want to make this line and this line perpendicular to each other. I'll click this and click this and this, such that this and this are made perpendicular to each other. I can dimension to check if it is actually perpendicular to the other. So we find it is 90 degrees, except because it's perpendicular, it's already dimensional. Now next is to make some of the arc smooth or some line smooth or the curve smooth. That one will use a different demonstration so that you can understand, but generally it is used to make 2 points smooth, to have a smooth edge. This is making concentric circles. Let me demonstrate by drawing 2 circles on this pen. So let me create a circle of the dimension, the diameter will be, let's say, 200, and another circle whose dimension is, let's say, 120. So we want to make these 2 circles concentric. That means that they have to have the same midpoint. So I'll click this and click this and this. So you find that now they have a similar midpoint. So that's how to make a line concentric. This is meant to make a line horizontal. This is meant to make a line vertical. For example, let's draw a line from this edge to this edge, and sometimes we may make a line that is not actually straight, and another vertical line that is not straight. For example, these and these. And you're wondering, how am I going to make this line straight? So I'll click horizontal and make this horizontal. Now it is perfectly horizontal. And if I click this and click this, it is now perfectly vertical. So sometimes you may need to make 2 lines equal. So I'll click this to make it equal to this, such that this line, when you dimension it, it is actually of the same dimension as this, except so that this and these are equal. Okay. Okay, these other sections are creating images, points, inserting an AutoCAD file, and this one you may use later, showing the format you'll use later, and finally you may finish your sketch. So this is a very brief introduction, a detailed introduction about using AutoCAD Inventor. In the next lesson, we are going to discuss more how to create drawings that are basic drawings. For example, designing a bolt, designing a nut, designing a flange. So we are going to start basically using these shapes and lines and fillets and chamfer and all this, so that you can see how they can be applied to make real drawings that can be used for manufacturing. So don't forget to like, to share, and to subscribe. Welcome for the next class. Thank you. Bye bye.